What is up, Podheads? Episode 121 of the Podioslave podcast. I am Tony. I am here, as always, with Anthony and Nate. How are you boys doing tonight?
Full nerd mode, you know, geeking out with just some strange fools tonight. Right, Twan?
I'm good, but I'm distracted because Nate, of where he is, and I would typically say our listeners can't see it, but I think we're going to drop some of the video of this episode, so you will see it. Nate is in a fucking outhouse right now.
Pretty much, yeah. Yep.
Yeah, I want to keep it fitting for the episode, and, you know, if I have to, as Blothar would say, take a shit.
As Blothar would say several times, too.
Yeah. A lot of poop at the beginning of that episode. Yeah, the interview. Totally, yeah. No, we had Blothar the Berserker from the band GWAR, which you've probably heard of in some form or fashion over the last 30 years, right? They've been around for a long time.
Everyone knows them. Our wives know them. It's crazy.
And yeah, we actually do get into that. No spoiler alert. But yeah, my wife knows of them. And I think, you know what? I think she's now a fan. I think just the way I've been talking about the band kind of leading up to this interview, I played her some tunes. I don't think she watched like Beavers and Butthead, or I don't think she knows the full stage experience, but what I've teased, she likes.
Yeah, and the Beavis Butthead thing's hilarious, because that's what I said to my brother, too. We're going to be interviewing a guy from GWAR. He's like, GWAR from, like, Beavis and Butthead? So it's like, that's always the correlation. I love it.
No. It's funny. I was on Twitter earlier this afternoon looking at some stuff, and another one of the podcasts that we follow had posted a picture of the Beavis and Butthead experience, like compilation CD that GWAR is on, and you know, a bunch of other bands too. But I was like, this is Nerdvoyance. It's what we have Blothar tonight on the podcast, and I'm seeing this CD that I remember owning as a kid and listening to a shit ton as a, you know, an 11-year-old, and now I'm talking to, you know, the front man of the band GWAR now, and man, what a trip this all is, right?
And he was, I mean, you guys are going to get into it. You guys as listeners will get into this once we kick off with him. But yeah, what a character, tons of stories. And he's got a pretty rich history with the band. Like, he's been the vocalist since, what, 2014? And then before that, he was Beefcake the Mighty, right? Bass player, had a stint in the 90s and 80s and 90s, and then again in the late 90s. And then when Odorous died, he came back and was the front man. And yeah, if I think we're definitely gonna post the video of this.
Yeah,
he's in full costume, and it was right when he jumped on, it was like, all right, I'm in.
Here we go. Yep.
Yeah, we asked him how he's doing, and he told us he was terrible. You know, miserable. I'm always miserable. Like, okay, I love this. Like, this guy he's in character. He's ready to go. I mean, I think he's just always Blothar. There's nothing to it there. That's the way it goes.
Yeah, very candid. In fact, I think this is the first and last time that I'll ever say that this may be a not safe for work episode. It's pretty explicit.
Yeah.
Parental advisory in the corner.
Yeah.
We do drop F-bombs occasionally in the regular pod. This one's got a little bit more than that.
Yeah.
Well, hey, then, without further ado, we're going to get into our conversation with Blothar the Berserker of the band GWAR. Hey, Podheads, Tony here. Happy to have you guys click on the episode. If you like this, or you are new to the Podioslave world, go back and check out some of our other interviews. We've had Jesse Leach of Killswitch Engage, Brian Fair of Shadows Fall, Sergio Vega of Quicksand and Deftones bassist for a long time, and also our buddies Trawl, the up-and-coming funk metal band out of Portland, Maine. Check out those episodes. We've talked to those fine folks and many others back there. All of that is located at www.podioslave.com. You know, that's where you can find all of our nerdery, all of our banter back and forth between each other, and then find us on the socials at Podioslave on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and anywhere you can find us on a social media platform. It's going to be at Podioslave. Thanks.
Blothar, thank you for coming on the Podioslave podcast tonight. How you doing?
Don't mention it. I'm doing. I think I've already established with you that I'm doing miserable.
Yep.
Permanent state of affairs.
Now all the listeners know that too.
Yeah, now they know it too. That's right. They weren't on board earlier when I was cursing you, so they couldn't hear it. But yes, I am. I'm in the middle of my evening, which means that, as usual, I'm trying really hard to work up a turd. It's taken about 4.5 hours. So that's going to be the height of my evening, is when I eventually rollerblade over to the toilet and drop that baby off.
Nice. Nice.
So by the time we finish this podcast, you'll be ready.
Yeah. Jesus, I hope that this isn't a 4.5 hour podcast.
Well, if Nate has his way, it will be.
Yeah, Joe Rogan style. I mean, whatever. Figure it out.
So Blothar, we were jogging the memory bank, trying to think of the first time we ever got exposed to GWAR, and we were all born in the '80s. You know, we're young pups, and the first exposure was Beavis and Butthead, the Jack the World video off This Toilet Earth. You obviously remember that.
I do. You know, I've exposed myself to a lot of very young people. It's true. But yeah, Beavis and Butthead, they really spread the word. Real Johnny Appleseeds of GWAR there.
Yeah, and like that was for our generation. We were like, you know, super influential for us, whether it was, you know, the topics they were talking about or the music, and that was huge for us. I mean, I assume you guys felt that benefit.
Well, of course, yeah. I mean, anytime you're on MTV back in the day when MTV was something more than what it is now, it was useful, very useful, yes. And it made perfect sense for GWAR to be Beavis and Butthead's favorite band, and Mike Judge had come out to some performances, and we've seen and talked to him. We're trying to get him to do a shock rock Tales from the Tour Bus. I think that would be great.
Oh, that would be awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, but you know, I mean, the truth of the matter is that it's way less shocking than the country guys. What are we going to do and compare with George Jones and his IQ of 64?
Very true. Very true. So yeah, it was, you know, we're 11 years old watching Beavis and Butthead, and to see you guys come onto the screen like that and be like, holy shit. And I'm sure I just stepped into another one right here, but holy shit, what is this and how do I find more of it?
Yeah, I mean, it was great. And then they put us in the video game, which was
that's right.
That's right. And then I made the mistake of buying the video game. Why would I don't know why I had to buy it when I'm in it.
True.
And then I could never even get to the point where you see GWAR. It's a really hard game, at least for me.
Very hard, yeah.
You have very low skills at a lot of things.
Are you still seeing royalty checks from that game or no?
I don't think we ever saw any royalty checks from that game. It was, you know, I mean, probably the only thing that we made was publishing from, I mean, we didn't have big dicks to swing back then. You know, we were, that might be why they put us on there in the first place.
Yeah.
But we had low expectations, let's just say. Mm-hmm. But we had, you know, I mean, I guess we get paid from publishing for whatever ridiculous video game version of our song is in there, but that's about it.
So basically it's equivalent to like a Spotify spin now.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yep.
Nothing.
Pennies. Yeah, fractions of pennies.
Yeah, you have to buy it still.
Yeah. You get a bill at the end of each month.
Yeah. All right, so I mean, more impetus to talk to you. You have a new album out that dropped, almost a month ago now, right? Early June. The new Dark Ages. That came together over the pandemic. You guys threw some stuff together. Did you have some stuff kind of on the back burner for that, or how did that all come about?
Yeah, we were getting ready to go into the studio and record. Literally, the tickets were booked, and all of a sudden, you know, the everything fell apart. We couldn't get together for 2 years. Oh, cry me a river. I didn't have to hang around with those assholes
right.
for 2 full years, man. And it's funny. We did have some songs written, you know, for the album that were already, some of which we had to change because the world really took a turn there during the pandemic. So we readjusted and got back together and recorded them. As soon as we went in to record the session, there was a massive snowstorm and we lost power. So all of the basic tracks for that record are recorded, with a toilet that won't flush in the other room. So it's just permeating smell of like the poop of 6 grown men. And then like everything was gas powered on generators, you know. Wow. Literally, gas powered rock and roll there for the basic tracks at least.
Wow.
Glamour. It's glamour, man. It's glamour.
That is of the picture of glamour, the toilet and all.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, you can smell it when you listen to the album a little bit. Like it comes through. It's great.
Scratch and sniff. We've always wanted to do.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you've got the graphic novel that came out with it too. Is that the first time you've put out a graphic novel with an album, accompanied with an album?
It is, yes. It's the first time we've ever tried anything like that before. And GWAR, I mean, GWAR has a long history with comics. The very early days of this band, the people that started it were very influenced by underground comics in particular, in that the way that sort of, the 60s underground comics, R. Crumb and S. Clay Wilson, Weirdo Magazine, Robert Wilson, all of that stuff translated into kind of punk rock comics, right? And that's where GWAR really got its start. So it was very good to be able to work with a real comic company, put out a really, we had done stuff with Dark Horse and Last Gasp and other big comic companies before, but Z2 is the company that's putting it out. They really got their shit together. And definitely the first time we've had it coordinated with the release, at least as much as you can coordinate a release during the pandemic. I mean, that's why we've got the digital version of the record out for 3.5 or 4 months before the CDs and records drop. But
Yep. Supply chain.
It dropped. Yes, it dropped. Sounds like somebody dropped a turd.
So with that said, was the novel was always part of the writing concept the whole time? You knew you were going to have that as a companion, or was it the other way around?
We kind of thought of it during the pandemic, because during the pandemic, very sadly, the human manager for GWAR, who was also the human manager for Clutch, by the way,
Nice.
He died right at the beginning of the pandemic. So we made a switch to a new management company during that time. And the company that we switched to is a company that is kind of a bigger company and that has done a lot of stuff and had worked with this comic company before. And that's, so it really didn't come together until about the end of the first year of the pandemic.
Oh, wow.
So sound-wise, it's funny. I played the album for my wife, who's very much a pop country, Kings of Leon, Gaslight Anthem. That's her interest. I played it for her. She really liked it. So, it might be, I don't know, the best way to put it is it's more approachable for you guys. It's an approachable album. Was that a goal, like as far as the writing process, or?
I mean, look, I love Odorous Urungus. Odorous Urungus was a very, very, he's one of the best and most underrated frontmen in rock and roll history, in my opinion. I mean, you've got a guy up there who's every bit as funny and talented and trained in the arts of entertainment as Diamond Dave, right? But Odorous had a lot to say, and his voice was very polarizing. So it's not that difficult. Part of the project was to create some distance between what Odorous did and what the band and what GWAR did with Odorous as the frontman and what the band does now. And one of the easiest ways to do that was just to say, look, we're going to have less lyrics, right? Like don't, give the music some room, focus more on hooks. Odorous would throw a hook under the bus for a laugh any day of the week. And I'm glad he did. I think it was awesome and brilliant. But when you don't do that, I think things just kind of automatically become a little more approachable. Our goal was really to just do things differently. But as it turns out, the end effect of that is that it's more approachable.
Yeah. But I mean, there's something for everyone. I mean, I listen to it. I'm like, all right, well, that sounds, power metal, and this sounds, riffy, and your vocals are on point. And I guess you passed my wife's test of, she dug it. So you're doing something right, because no one passes that test.
Yeah, I mean, if I can pass the test of a wife, any wife, then I think I'm doing good.
Yeah.
That's a sniff test that you want to pass.
There you go.
Truth.
I'm glad he likes it, though. I mean, people have been asking us a lot about this. I mean, GWAR is a band that we neither reap the benefits or the rewards of adhering to genre. You know, people like to think that they have eclectic taste. They don't. They want the same thing again and again, and they want the same thing from their bands. I mean, it's insane. Like I think they perceive it almost. It's like consistency in a restaurant, right? They don't, you know, or watching an episode of Law and Order SVU. The same shit happens every time, and that's ultimately people want that, and it's rewarded in this industry. And I think that's one of the reasons why there's so much shit out there that just sucks, is because people are trying to adhere to genre, and GWAR just, you know, I mean, we've never been interested in that, like not at any stage of our development. I mean, there were certainly some metal years where the band did that, you know, starting maybe with Violence Has Arrived and really picking up on the next sort of 3 albums after that. But even then, I mean, there was a lot of variety on those records compared to most sort of thrash metal or, you know, metal associated bands.
Right. And like, you're going to do it for as long as GWAR's done it. You can't do the same thing every record. You have to do something different. You must get bored, right? I mean,
either that or you got to make the money ACDC does. And then you
true, right. Yeah. It's one or the other.
Why should we break this thing that's fixed, right? Like, I just want to stuff my nose with cocaine and sit on a beach in a man bikini.
Well, speaking of ACDC and their longevity, you guys are similar to them. It's kind of tour titans. You guys have been on the road for quite a while, and you're going back on the road to Europe, right? That's where it's all starting. So maybe Twan will bring his wife as a new fan to the European tour.
That's right. Hey, where are you at? And what's your name? Antonio? Antoinette?
Anthony, I'm up in Maine, the great state of Maine, Northeast.
Yep.
I mean, one of you guys looks like you're in a log cabin.
That's Nate.
That's
Nate.
Yep. And he is. You're absolutely right.
Very appropriate for the interview. I'm on a toilet in a log cabin.
Yeah.
Like outhouse. Your balls are just swinging down there with the black.
Yeah, why not?
Be careful in there, Nate. I mean, you never know what's in that hole.
Right.
I always stand in the hole. I don't understand the.
Nate made his way back east. He typically lives in Southern California, but we're all from Maine, so he's back in the great state of Maine, you know, for the week, and up in the woods in an outhouse.
We just really pissed people off in Maine because we played in New Hampshire. We played in New Hampshire, then we played in Vermont, and in both places I called them Maine.
Oh shit!
Good. Fuck them.
Yeah.
They had a very negative reaction to that.
Yeah. Well, it's because they have an inferiority complex. Maine is the better state.
Oh my God, easy.
What I told them, everybody knows the best maple syrup is made in Maine.
That really pisses Vermont off.
Yeah, Vermonters, they're like, no.
Yeah. So yeah, going over to the UK at the end of July, right?
Yeah. Can't wait. The land of shitty food and ugly women. Gonna be great. I mean, you know, the British are a brutal, bloodthirsty people, and they always appreciate GWAR, and they have for a long time. I mean, we've been going over there. Unfortunately, we stopped, so we kind of lost some momentum there after Odorous passed. But you know, and it's one of those things where if you don't go and keep traveling, then they forget about you. So now we're gonna let them know we exist again.
So over there, obviously the fans, you know, you probably don't get over there as much as the U.S. Like, I mean, they obviously know what they're getting into at a GWAR show at this point.
Some of them do, but to be honest with you, like there's some places where, for instance, we're playing in Poland on this trip. I mean, that's going to be a blast, and it always is, because anytime you play a GWAR show in front of people who've never seen the band, it's a transcendent experience. I mean, because they just, you know, they lose their minds, especially someplace like that where they really legitimately don't know what to expect. And they see us roll out there and do what we do. And You know, it's like somebody checks a box somewhere that says anything is permissible. You can do whatever the fuck you want while this band is on.
Do they not have the internet there? Like, how do they not know what a GWAR show is?
Well, I don't think anybody knows what a GWAR show is when they're like, I mean, there's a big difference in looking at it on stage and standing in it, you know?
Literally standing in it.
Yeah, literally. And watching how it all comes together. And, you know, it's, I think that people, they know basically what to expect, but it's still shocking. And it's great also when we get to some place where, I mean, maybe the internet isn't that, you know, I mean, I guess it's all over the world that people have the internet, but sometimes we play places where people don't seem to know very much about the band, even now. And that's pretty cool.
So probably early on, you're dealing with more of that, right? I mean, whether it be fans coming to a show, maybe you're opening, or a band you're out on tour with, and their fans are like, what the fuck did we just get ourselves into? That must have happened a lot back then.
Yeah, I mean, for sure. Absolutely. Back then in the late 80s, throughout the 90s. Yeah, I mean, that was, to be honest with you, I mean, that was the very best time to have been in GWAR because for those very reasons, you know, and we were playing such small places. I mean, sandwich shops, you know, literally there's a club in, I think it's in San Antonio called Taco Land. And, you know, GWAR at Taco Land was just, it's legendary, even in our own minds, right? Like we still remember back. I can't even imagine what the like group of about 40 or 50 Latin American migrant workers who were at the show must have thought. But you know, I mean, yeah, I mean, we were constantly running into that stuff. We'd go play at some place, and all of a sudden, like one time, there were all these guys who had legs amputated for some reason in the audience, and all of a sudden, they just started throwing them up on stage. So
No way.
yeah, we had a lot of severed, like amputee limbs up there. I mean, all kinds of insane stuff happened in this band. Plus, we used to take a lot of drugs and then go play.
So maybe none of that actually happened. You were just seeing the prosthetic
hallucinations.
I mean, we did the very first time that I went to see GWAR, not as a member of the band, but as a fan, which was probably the first or second. I think it was the second time the band ever played. They didn't have any songs. They just stood there holding the instruments and talking about how cool they were.
That's what we do. That's what we do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we've modeled ourselves after you guys.
Good.
Yeah.
That's why I'm on the toilet.
What about on the promotion side? Like, does a promoter, you ever get anyone that's like, shut this shit down? What the hell is this?
Yeah, we have. I mean, I don't think we've ever had a promoter do that. We've definitely had promoters who didn't understand what we were going to do.
Right.
Approach us with a mop bucket.
Yeah, clean this up.
And we were like, yeah, that's not how this works, man. Like, you know, we're gonna do these drugs and screw these chicks and we'll see it there, right? But you know, so there is that, but we have had actual legal officials shut down shows on more than one occasion. In particular, I guess the one that was most like what you're describing would be, because it happened in Charlotte, but that was very premeditated. Like they showed up with a whole bunch of police that were holding, you know, the shields in the back. You had the guys who were sort of riot cops, and then you had the Barney Miller types that were coming up on stage. So that was kind of an orchestrated thing. But in Athens, yeah, man, Athens, Georgia, we played, and the chief of police just, you know, he had some guys that were working there off duty as security, like they normally do, cops do. And they called him, and we're like, Chief, you got to come down here and see this, right? So he comes down and he looks at it and he says, yeah, you're not doing that. Not in this town. Not tonight.
Wow.
And they just completely shut the show down, and people were just fucking pissed, man. And we wound up getting, I think we got $40,000 from the ACLU. Yeah, we won that case, and they gave us a big giant check written to the Missing Children's Foundation.
Wow.
We couldn't figure out where to cash it.
Like massive, like you see, Publishers Clearinghouse. Yeah.
Yeah, we had to try to find a big bank.
That's amazing. Like an oversized bank. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. Got to fit through the window.
I feel like that would have made a good merchandising piece, which is kind of our next
Oh, the
question.
Segway King is back.
The Segway King is back. GWAR merchandising is fucking epic.
Oh, it is.
I mean, you guys have done a great job. I mean, how does that, like, who's the mastermind? Is this a band decision? Are you guys just throwing ideas and say, roll it, fuck it, let's go?
Yeah, I mean, it kind of writes itself, right? It's like,
Yeah.
It's a band that there's a lot of potential avenues for, and our willingness to prostitute ourselves is probably distinguishes us from other bands, except for maybe Kiss, right? Like, we love the idea of slapping our money and making a cheap buck on anything we can. But in all honesty, I mean, it's just, GWAR is it's a band with a story, and we're world builders. And so that we've got a lot of IP, as is perhaps intellectual property, commercial term for it, I suppose. Like, there's a lot of things that people can use to, that it works with. We can put out a beer called Blood Geyser, we can put out a dildo with Bad Dragon. Have you seen that?
Not yet.
That.
No.
Not yet.
A massive marital aid collection.
And that is why the wife has given the okay.
Oh, I know those guys. I know those guys.
Life doesn't have anything to do with this marital aid, because it really should be a marital detriment, if anything.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, you're right. There's whiskey, there's beer, there's toys, there's CBD. Like, you guys have been everywhere.
Yeah. And it writes itself, man. Blood of Gods, New Dank Age.
We were thinking, though, if you wanted to expand, Kiss does the mini golf out in Vegas. You guys, GWAR's got to get into that. Do the whole, I mean, imagine that. I know Odorous was a big golfer. Be a nice tribute to him. And call it GWAR 4 instead of Par 4.
That's an excellent idea. GWAR 4.
Yeah, we're trademarking it right now, so you can't take it from us.
Yeah, that's our IP. Blothar.
We would love to. I mean, anything that has to do with Vegas, we're in.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, I understand Kiss was doing a run there for a little while. We'd like to do that too.
Oh, like a residency? Yeah, I could see you guys do that.
We're getting older. Why not?
Stay in one place. I mean, Vegas isn't a bad place to stay. There's a lot of food. There's a lot of things you can get in trouble with.
That's right.
Yeah. Why do you like Vegas so much? What is it about?
Me?
Who? Yeah, you.
Because
no, Nate in the log cabin.
I'm hungry. He's got he has a diploma on the wall. Here's where I hang my.
Yeah, he's king
diploma.
shit. That's what he is.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that would be good. Seeing you guys do a residency out there would be great. It'd be a reason for us to go. So.
Yeah, see the show, go to your room, shower, see the second show if you're doing like 2 nights in a row.
Yeah.
That'd be so great. Imagine we could hook up with Siegfried and Roy. Are they still doing anything, or are they dead now?
I think one got attacked by a tiger, so I'm not sure what's going on there.
Yeah.
But take their tigers and put it in the show, and then
Cirque display.
Yep. Yeah. GWAR Cirque du Soleil. Hell yeah.
That would be nuts. People would be dropping on purpose.
Pete Rose is still out there. You could always find him.
Pete Rose?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I've been to Vegas 3 times. I think I've seen him all 3 times.
Jeez.
Him and Dennis Rodman, they'll do anything for $1. So maybe you'll fit in.
Yeah, it'd be perfect.
I had no idea that Johnny Hustle was beating the pavement.
Yeah.
He was just signing memorabilia. He's not in the Hall of Fame, so he should be. Let's be honest. But yeah, he's out there just signing pictures.
Yeah, that's something. When I was a kid, I played baseball. It's the only game I was ever good at, as far as the sport goes. And you remember how Pete Rose, he owned the baseline, and you were not, and you had to go through him in order to get. And Pete, and they always told you, if you knock the guy over and he drops the ball, then you're safe, right? So I plowed this kid that was about 100 pounds lighter than me, and I was very dismayed that I got a round of boos from the audience. "Boo! You suck, fatso. Sit down, fat Blothar. You suck."
Were you Blothar back then?
Yeah, I was always Blothar.
Yeah, he's always been Blothar.
Yeah, I was just a little kitty Blothar.
The Blothar truffle shuffle.
You know it, man.
So, getting back to kind of, the costumes and all of the world building you guys have done, you have creative control over all of it. That has got to be freeing. No one telling you what to do. You come up with ideas, you see if they work, and you go with it.
Yeah, I mean, freeing, yes. Lucrative, I don't know. Sure, it's been a blast, to be in a band where you can make a big butt-shaped cannon that shoots poop into the crowd.
Mm-hmm.
Sure, why not?
Yep.
Let's pay $7,000 for that.
But you have willing participants. People are paying to be there.
You're right. And GWAR is also unique. I say pay for it, but we pay for materials. I mean, GWAR is a band that's very different than Slipknot, very different than Kiss or any of these sort of costume bands. And in that GWAR has a narrative. The shows live always have a narrative. And then the other way that we're different is that GWAR, the people that make the show are members of the band, right? So you've always got, it's a band of painters and sculptors and actors and writers and then some musicians as well.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And that's a credit to you guys for not just having, a drummer, a guitarist, a bassist, and a front person. You also are employing other people to kind of see that vision out. That's pretty badass.
Yeah, I mean, we've always done that. I mean, that's how it got started was, people working on a science fiction film and people working on a punk rock band. And then you put the two together and it's like a chocolate in my peanut butter sort of moment.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty soon, nobody wants to watch your shitty science fiction film or listen to your shitty punk rock band. They want to watch this new thing.
Mm-hmm.
What's one stage idea that never came to fruition that you were like, all right, that's pushing the limits a little too much, or it just money-wise just didn't make sense?
Oh, well, there's been a lot of the money-wise. There was an idea somebody had for woman boots one time, which was, we all drew the line at that. No way. It was like a pair of boots. A pair of boots that you just put your foot in where you would imagine you would put your foot in.
Oh, jeez.
Oh, man.
And then wear it around like a pair of, we were like, how is it? This is a terrible idea.
Mm-hmm.
Was it to sell, like merchandise, or like a
No,
live
not
show?
to sell. Just we were going to have them on stage,
Somebody would buy that.
Yeah. And then somebody said, no, let's do it like a sack race. No. These are all terrible ideas.
Yeah. But so the lines of communication are open for that stuff, though. You just throw it all out there and see what sticks.
Yeah, literally. I mean, like the butt cannon. I mean, that's a great example of something that stuck too much, right? Like we made the poop out of oatmeal and chocolate syrup, and the next thing you know, little did we know that stuff. It's basically like paper mache once it dries.
Yeah.
Yeah, that lasted about 2 shows.
Any disgruntled fans?
Disgruntled. Oh man, we always have disgruntled fans about some of them that think the band's not hard enough, or the band, there's certainly a lot of complaining on the internet, as you know,
mm-hmm.
about everything imaginable. So people complain about GWAR. But as far as people in the audience getting upset, actual fans, no, but audience members, yes.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
We had, there's a video that's online right now. And we were playing in Tijuana, Mexico. And there was I guess he was a security guard. He was on the side of the stage, and he was huge, like just a big muscly guy. And he kept getting shit all over him. Like, it just accumulated. He got like splattered with all these noodles. But what really sent him over the edge was when Odorous sprayed him with load, with like a good dose from the Cuttlefish of Cthulhu. And we were all tripping on acid. And by this time, we were like peaking on acid, right?
Nice.
And so if you look at the video online, I mean, I can point it to you. We're all on the right side of the drums because that guy is on the left side of the stage. Like, it's just so funny. Like, you can even see him up there steaming.
Just ready to kill you.
Yeah, we're all afraid, so we're on the other side of the drums.
That's so good. That guy drew the short straw that night. He didn't want to work there, but
No, and he had no. He just was not entertained. And that's really, GWAR and security. Frequently, we get the security are the guys that we wind up having trouble with for one reason or another. Sometimes you get the security guards that look like they think they're Secret Service dudes, and they're wearing like shark skin suits, and they got like an earpiece.
Mm-hmm.
Those guys don't like us because we spray them with shit. Then you get the dudes that are mobbed up goombas that just they don't want their manhood compromised by getting a face full of load from 4 udders on a big fat cow creature. And so we've had some knockdown, drag out fights with security for sure. But the last time we toured, one of the things that I noticed was that security, they'd be watching us. Talk about people that don't know what to expect, right? I mean, they don't know. A lot of times these are guys that don't know what GWAR does. So they're watching the show. Meanwhile, people are like being medevaced out of the building because they're getting tossed over the barricade, landing on their faces. And these guys are standing up front looking at us do what we do. And they were cool with everything. Trump comes out. We rip his guts open and pull out all of his guts, right? Rip his stomach open. And they were fine with that. But then when he drops to his knees and starts giving me a blowjob, they lost their minds. You could see in their faces. They were like, we are not comfortable with this. This feels un-American.
But you don't care. You're not from America, so.
No, I mean, my argument would be, what's more American than a blowjob?
That's fair.
Well, most security that's like working the barricade is facing the other way, so they get hit on the back of the head. What the hell is this?
Yeah, and there is no better target than a big bald head. Let me tell you. Yeah. We just make it like a point of contention, and not every big bald guy really appreciates that.
That's fair. Yeah.
Imagine like a music festival, like the One Up, Flaming Lips comes out, confetti. Friggin' ICP comes out, you get sprayed with Feo, and then GWAR you get shit on.
Boy, what a festival that would be.
Yeah, those three.
ICP playing with Flaming Lips.
Yeah.
And GWAR.
I'd go to that show. I'd go to that show in a heartbeat.
Yeah, it's kind of like a progression of assholes too,
Yeah. All right. We got a little lightning round, and then we'll wrap it with that if you're on board.
Sure, man.
All right, so we got to know, Blothar, what's the first album you ever owned?
Billy Joel's The Stranger.
Nice.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. A bottle of red.
Oh, yeah.
And what year was that?
I don't know.
Are you an asshole, twat? Blothar doesn't have age.
I don't know, man. Like probably 1974 or something.
Yeah, that was my guess. 74. Great record. Yep.
It is a great record.
You mentioned Mike Judge being a fan of GWAR. Is there anybody else that we'd be surprised that you know of as a fan of GWAR?
I mean, there's lots that you wouldn't be surprised. Weird Al, Officer Dangle from Reno 911. Who else comes to the shows? I mean, a lot of Susanna Hoff from the Bangles.
Nice, yeah.
Debbie Harry, she used to come around a lot. I mean, yeah, it's always been. I'm trying to think of anybody that would be unusual. H.R. Giger used to come to the gigs once in a while. It's a band that has some really kind of important pop icons have been interested in GWAR. John Cusack used to come around. Just sitting here trying to think. I mean, but they all know about the band. Like
absolutely, yeah.
You ask about it, they know who we are and what we're doing. Like all of it. Very rarely do you hear somebody who doesn't know about it. But I don't know about sort of surprising. Who is the guy Danny Trejo, is that
Danny Trejo?
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
yeah. That guy is a big GWAR fan, and he helped us a lot. He showed up at some shows, and he would always want to come backstage and help.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So it's like wow.
load in and load out. Like he wanted to.
No, not that.
What kind of load are you talking about,
Well,
Twan?
yeah, right. He's a fucking master of stagecraft, man. He's he loves what he does, and he appreciates what we're doing, and he wants to help. Like you can't just sit there and watch these dudes, because a GWAR show is like a complete clusterfuck from the get-go. It's like when we hire somebody. I just had to have this conversation with a tour manager. I was like, look, it was a new guy, and I'm like, this is a band that is in full crisis mode every single day. Like there's never a day when a tank doesn't explode and like somebody doesn't punch somebody backstage. Like this is complete anarchy. So get ready for it. So I guess Trejo, he just couldn't watch us suffer like that. He had to live it.
Want to help? Yeah.
Yeah.
Like Christian Bale, always in character.
Always.
Maybe he was at the Taco Land show and he's like, fuck, dude, I'm going to help clean up because I don't want him to get a fucking D rate. This restaurant did not pass inspection tomorrow.
Man, Taco Land, that we don't even want to, we don't have enough time for me to tell that story, but yeah.
I just hope there's YouTube video of that show,
There isn't. I've looked, but Taco Land, it turns out, was a thing. Other bands knew about it. The guy who ran it, this guy Ram, he was a big time. He wasn't a big time. He was just like he owned he just didn't give a shit what people thought. And so we played that show, and there were almost no punk rockers in the bar because he wouldn't let them in. He didn't want them in there. He had seen us load in all this stuff, so he called up all his friends. So all that was there was like literally, it was like a room full of migrant workers. And when we started playing, it was like a saloon, like a saloon fight in a Western, right? Like
Nice.
just people just pouring tequila down like naked women's throats and like, punching each other in the face, tables turning over. It was absolute insanity.
It's amazing.
I've lived a rich life, a very rich life.
So that Tales from the Tour show you're talking about, that'll be one of the episodes.
Oh man, it'd be great. I mean, Taco Land would have to be on there. Yeah, that's not even. I mean, I haven't even scratched the surface with that.
Amazing. It's crazy. We're talking about different things here. Taco Land, different countries, different identities. We have day jobs. This is kind of our split personality of the podcast. Your day job, Blothar. Your night job, or vice versa. I guess your day job. You were a former PhD and music professor. Like, holy shit! I think a lot of people don't know this.
Well, unfortunately, once you're a PhD, you're always a PhD.
Yeah, he's not former.
Yeah.
Former professor though, right?
I had my brain sized so I could do GWAR. No, I mean, yes, in a former life, the human thrall of Blothar the Berserker was a music professor at the University of Virginia for a long time, and what do you want to know? Ask me anything, I'll tell you.
Well, it's quite the dichotomy, right? I mean, you're like we said, the day job is teaching, and the night job is going out and doing all the things that we've talked about for the last hour or so. So it's kind of wild.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't taught for a long time. I haven't taught for since 2013. So it's been a while since I was teaching, but and basically the whole time I was in GWAR, I was retired, only just because you can't really sign contracts and then go on tour, for as long as you need to go on tour. So
you obviously have to go take a shit, so we'll let you go do that. We really appreciate Blothar the Berserker coming on the Podioslave podcast tonight.
No problem, man. My pleasure.
Awesome, dude. Thank you.
Thank you so much. All right, there you have it, Blothar of GWAR. That is almost 30 years in the making from like the initial point that we saw GWAR as kids. And you know what? It's pretty crazy because like I probably had nightmares about that dude, and I think I still do. And we're chatting with him tonight. So it was badass, man. I'm all in on Blothar.
Yeah, he was awesome. He was. It's weird. It's like I expected it to be, out of this world, just fucking craziness, but it actually exceeded those expectations. So like because he was in character and sometimes not in character, he's just a fucking explicit person. So it was great, man. What a cool guy. And yeah, I didn't think when I was however old we were watching Beavis and Butthead that we'd ever be talking to one of the guys. So this is just an insane trip.
Right?
Yeah, it was really cool to have Blothar come through, GWAR come through, especially with all of the, back ties that we had just as kids, just finding out what they were and nerding out about, Beavis and Butthead and seeing videos and having our minds kind of blown by that. And now we're talking to these people. Like, man, I love what we do because of stuff like this. It's never in a million years when we started this did we think we'd have Blothar from GWAR on today. And here it is. So great guest, great guy to talk to. Excited for people to hear that album. That album's really good. If you haven't checked it out, go check it out. It's the new Dark Ages. It dropped in early June of 2022. And man, this is why we do this, to have conversations like this.
And I'll echo that. The new Dark Ages, it came out at this point about a month ago on Pit Records. I think it's their best record in probably 15 to 20 years. Like, it's really good. Blothar steps it up vocally. And like we say in the episode, there's something for everyone. Mm-hmm. Like, if you're a fan of, like, fucking Hammerfall, like, power metal, there's something there for you. If you like Clutch, like, there's some clutchy riffs on there. Like, it's all over the map, and that is the essence of GWAR. And I think that's... Hey, they are this podcast. Are we the GWAR of podcasts? Without the live show?
And and the costumes.
Hopefully the merchandising at some point, but yeah, right. No. I agree with both you guys. Great interview, great guy, and unexpected. I mean, I feel like you said, Tone, like we're just, these dreams come true, but this is like are we interviewing R.L. Stein from Goosebumps? Like, I didn't think this was going to fucking happen. Like, this is...
Hey, now that you've mentioned it, it might happen.
Hey, let's get him. Fuck it.
And that's the thing. No genre is off limits. And anyone that listens to us knows that. If you're new to us, know that we'll chat with GWAR one week. We'll chat with Jonah from Far the next, and then Peanut from 311 the next.
That's true. Yeah. All that stuff is back there too. So go check out some of those interviews. I mean, or you could check out some of our OG eps too, where it's just the three of us and we're talking nerdery and bands and music and albums and stuff that we love and shows we went to and different podcast friends that have been in, into the mix with us to talk that stuff too. So there's a lot back there, and the fact that we get to do this weekly because we like to grind and we like to talk about the music that we love, it just is so fulfilling. Some people have gambling, which obviously sucks, and some people have drinking. I'm glad I have the podcast because it's so much healthier, and we're able to do this with our friends, our lifelong friends, for a weekly basis, and make this thing into something that I don't think any of us ever thought we'd get to. So pretty cool.
I got one final thought. The biggest robbery in music history is when GWAR lost to Annie Lennox for the best long-form music video Grammy for Phallus in Wonderland. They got robbed, man.
Agreed. Yep. Agreed. Yeah, they should have won. Fuck Annie Lennox.
And they lost to Nine Inch Nails a few years later.
Wow. Yeah.
Best metal performance in '96.
Man, that's worse than Metallica losing to Jethro Tull, man.
So yeah, if you like what you heard, as I said earlier, go check us out, podioslave.com. Hit us up on the socials at Podioslave. Email us at podioslavepodcast@gmail.com. We are very, very close. Look out for a trailer coming very soon for our special project that we've been teasing the last couple of weeks. That should be dropping, I don't know, within the next 7 to 10 days. So check that out, and then you'll be kind of surprised at how many people that we've talked to. Again, the month of July is going to be very busy for us in early August. You're going to really like what we've got in store for you guys. So check all that stuff out at podioslave.com, and we'll be back next week.
See you next week.
Cheers, nerds.
Peace, podheads.
Yeah.